No unboxing today, no preamble, no stories, no nothing. I'm just gonna get right to it. I'm gonna talk about Kiss Dynasty today, as you can see. And still keeping with the vinyl, it's gonna be a while. I will, I'm sure at some point, maybe even soon, talk about CDs, bring CDs back into the mix as this series started with CDs. From the live chat the other day, and just when I said I was gonna get right to the record, I'm doing this. In the live chat, live stream the other day that I did, somebody mentioned a record, and I said, oh yeah, I have that on CD. I'm going to do that sometime. So CDs will make a return at some point. But today, Dynasty. In Australia, they say Dynasty. They say a lot of things strange in Australia. Isn't that right, Damien? But here it is. I got this, this is used. I got this, I think about 3 weeks ago. I went to El Chopo and got this for a very, very reasonable price. Actually, great price, 200 pesos. It's not my favorite Kiss album. I checked when I did the Kiss ranking video, I think a year or 2 years ago, whenever it was. I checked my records today. I had written it down in a notebook. I had this at 15 out of 24. So more towards the bottom, closer to the bottom than the top, which in retrospect is probably pretty accurate. I don't, as far as I remember, this was the first Kiss album that I didn't love as much as all the previous ones before it. Solo albums maybe don't count because I never liked Peter Criss's right from the start. Well, I'll talk about that as I go through track by track, why I don't exactly love it. So I got this at El Chopo, and it's sealed up here. So it's not going to be an unboxing. It'll be a little bit of unwrapping. It's got this cellophane cover on it. I didn't even open it to. You can see it's still stuck together. I didn't even open it to check the condition. I guess I just trusted the guy. For me, and maybe record collectors are the ones to set me straight on this, and I don't really care. But I think if it looks good on the outside, I should assume, and maybe incorrectly, that's also good on the inside. But I'm not playing this on a high-end stereo either, so I don't care. Now, also because I didn't open this, now this came with the poster, and I had the poster, I had it on my wall. I have no doubt that the poster is not in here. This also came with the sleeve, the inner sleeve, the dust jacket. Was the Kiss logo in like the colors of the rainbow. It should have that. I don't know. And now this is a Mexican version, I should say. Maybe it didn't have that sleeve in Mexico. Maybe it had just the black white and brown Casablanca sleeve. We'll see. And it does have. I always love this. It does have the song titles poorly translated into Spanish. So I Was Made for Loving You is Nací para Amarte, Hombre 2000 Man, Sé Algo de Seguro, Sure Know Something, Dirty Living is La Mala Vida, Charisma is just Carisma, Magic Touch is Toque Mágico, Hard Times, Tiempos Difíciles, duh, X-Ray Eyes, again, duh, Ojos Rayos, and Save Your Love, Guarda tu amor. So there it is. I'll open it up and see what condition it's in and see what sleeve it's in. There's no way there's a poster. And I think it's in pretty good condition. I mean, it is an original copy, so it's a little bit, I see it's taped. It's taped at the bottom and the top. Not so bad. Let me see. Oh, the sleeve sucks. It's just this plastic sleeve. That's it. Just that. No, nothing inside, right? No, nothing inside. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was expecting this to be at least a Casablanca sleeve, but whatever. And here's the actual record. I remember this very well. This was what the poster that came with it originally was a poster size version of that photo. And how does this look? Like I know what I'm looking for. I don't see any noticeable scratches. It's fine, I guess. Let me put this back and I'll go through it track by track. This is a pretty short one. I think so. I Was Made for Loving You. I love I Was Made for Loving You. I don't think there was any point that I didn't like it, or maybe I got tired of it at some point. But when I first heard it, and it was the first song, let me get my cat down here. It was the first song I heard from this album. I want to say that I had the single, but I'm not sure. I did have the single because I remember Hard Times was the B-side. So I did have the single probably before I bought it. And something else about this album. As far as I can remember, this was the first Kiss album that I remember buying. I hear, and I see a lot of people talking about their records, and they say, this is the first one I bought with my own money. I have no idea what the first one I bought with my own money was. I don't know if it was this or not. I was 9 years old when this came out. I don't know if I saved my allowance or maybe just my parents gave me money. But I remember buying this at Canadian Tire. It must have been 1980. I'm good sometimes with timelines. I was born in Montreal and moved to Toronto in November 1979. So I just turned 10 years old. This album came out, I don't know when, but at some point in 79. So I bought this in Toronto because I remember where I bought it. My cat she likes the plastic. So I bought this at Canadian Tire. For any Canadians who are watching, everybody knows Canadian Tire. I bought it at Canadian Tire on Lawrence Avenue East between Markham Road and Scarborough Golf Club Road. I have no idea if that one's still there. That's in Scarborough. I think I said that. I bought it there. I don't know whose money I used, if my parents gave me money or if it was my allowance that I saved up, but it's the first one that I remember. I remember having Destroyer and Love Gun and Rock and Roll Over before this, but I just had them. I don't remember getting them except for Alive, which I got for Christmas. So there you go, a little personal tidbit for Dynasty. So I Was Made for Loving You. I think it's a great song. I know a lot of people don't like it. It's a little bit of a disco feel, as maybe this whole album has, but I think I Was Made for Loving You. It is obviously different than what you would call classic Kiss, but I Was Made for Loving You is a great song. 2000 Man, this at the time when I was a kid was my favorite song. For me, this was, and I guess still is, an Ace album more than anything. He has 2000 Man, Hard Times, and Save Your Love. He's got 3 songs on here. He'd only had one before. That was Shock Me on Love Gun, of course, and his solo album. So this was the first album after his debut where he had more songs, and he had 3. 2000 Man was my favorite. And I don't know, I guess I knew that it was not written by Kiss. Because I think it says it on the record. Yeah, songs written by. Now there's no liner notes on the sleeve, but they're on the back cover here. So it says 2000 Man was written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. To be honest, I don't remember if I knew who Mick Jagger and Keith Richards were at the time. I knew who the Rolling Stones were. I don't know if I knew their names. I probably did. So I don't know if I knew that it was a cover or not, but 2000 Man was always my favorite. Loved it, and still love it. And I love the acoustic version that they did on the MTV Unplugged in 1995. Sure Know Something is next, which to me is in the vein of Paul Stanley's solo album. You could kind of see, in retrospect, listening to his solo album, you could kind of see what was in store for Dynasty and maybe even Unmasked a little bit. That's maybe my favorite now on this album, Sure Know Something, largely because of the acoustic version that they played on at the MTV Unplugged show in 95. I love that version. And love this version too. Yeah, I'd say Sure Know Something is my favorite. Dirty Living is next. This is, can I say this? Let me think to make sure. I think it's true that this is the worst Kiss album from the original lineup. And that I'll include Unmasked too. I know Peter Criss didn't play on Unmasked, and he didn't really play on this except for the song Dirty Living. That's the only song Peter Criss played on. But it's the worst Kiss song. From the debut through Unmasked, nothing was as bad as Dirty Living. That's what I think. I think Dirty Living sucks. Horrible song. I hate everything about it. I hate the disco feel to it. That weird bass. I'm sure that's not Gene playing bass. Yeah, Dirty Living sucks. I guess Peter's voice is okay. I think he's a good singer. But yeah, Dirty Living stinks to high heaven. That's what I was doing there. And then side 2, Charisma. No Gene songs on side 1. That's amazing. This is the first time ever that, then there are only 2 Gene songs on this whole album. First time that a Gene song, that there was no Gene song on any side. So the first song on side 2 is Charisma, What Is My... I like that song a lot. I saw him play that. I saw Gene's solo band or solo tour, whatever you call it, in Mexico City in 2017. And he played some great, great songs on that tour, on that show, including Charisma. And it was very, very cool to hear Charisma. And you know what? They played it on the radio sometimes in Mexico. I've heard it. I mean, I never listen to the radio by my choice. Sometimes I'm in somebody's car, or you're in a restaurant or somewhere and the radio is on. I've heard Charisma a lot on the radio in Mexico, which is probably why I'm sure Gene was aware of that, and that's probably why he played it. Because I don't think he played it every show on his solo tour. And it's a classic. I mean, not musically or in terms of the sound classically, but lyrically, this is classic Gene. You know, it's is it my personality? Is it my sexuality? That's got Gene all over it. Magic Touch is next. Another Paul song going back to, I think, Magic Touch and Sure Know Something could have easily have been on his solo album, which was only the year before. It seemed like so much time had passed, but it was only a year later. She's got the magic touch. I like that song a lot. Good song. Hard Times, the second Ace song, first original Ace song. Love that one too. As I said, I had it on the, I'm sure it was this one, the B-side of I Was Made for Loving You. When I recall Days in the City. And I think back, it wasn't pretty. Remembering how. Why can I never remember the lyrics? Well, I recall days in the city, and I think back. Well, what a pity. Remembering how it wasn't pretty. Everyday life in the city. We go to school, and then we cut out to the park and space our heads out. We called it fun, but there was no doubt hanging out down the city. We got arrested. Everyday life in the city. Maybe that's a favorite. I really like that song a lot. Who was it from Nuclear Assault? Who was it? The drummer, Glenn Evans. Glenn Evans did a little solo thing 10 years ago maybe, and he did a cover of Hard Times. Next is the second of only 2 Gene songs, X-Ray Eyes. It's okay. That song is okay. Again, this is the weakest Gene album by far to this point. I can't remember what I would think of where I would put that for something that came after. Maybe Animalized was also pretty weak, but yeah, this Dynasty, only 2 songs, and for me, only one good one. X-Ray Eyes is not that good. It's Lilia's. It's not her favorite number 1, but I think it's one of her very top tier Kiss songs is X-Ray Eyes. She loves it. And then the last one is Save Your Love, the third of Ace's songs, second original. Da-na, da-na, da-da-da-da. And what's the first lyric? You said you loved me, you may have been right. You knew that we would always fight. You tried to change me and mess up my mind, so don't rearrange me. And girl, you know that will be fine. Something like that. That's a great song too. So I love all 3 of Ace's songs. Peter's song is the worst one ever. Gene had one really good one and one so-so, and Paul's were pretty good. So that's why I say a very uneven record this is. Maybe for me the most, I was going to say the most uneven. Maybe not. Animalized was pretty uneven too. I mentioned that when I did that a couple of months ago. Paul's songs were great. I've Had Enough, Into the Fire, Heaven's on Fire, Under the Gun, Thrills in the Night, and then Gene had Lonely as the Hunter and While the City Sleeps, whatever. So that's it for Dynasty. So a very uneven album is Dynasty. So what can I say? I always try to think. You know what happens that when I get towards the end of these, I'm panicking internally because I realize it's over, and I realize shit. I don't know how to end this video, and I have nothing to say. That's why my endings are always bad. I don't think I'll get to the point where I'll be these guys that always have like a signature sign-off thing. with that they always start their videos and end their videos with. I don't think I'll do that. So I'll continue to just stammer. But anyway, that was Kiss Dynasty.